Welcome back to Kingdom Talk. I'm Dr. Barbara Wilson, and we're talking to phenomenal women entrepreneurs impacting the 21st century. And my next guest is Kathy Slyder.
Hello.
Welcome, Kathy.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, when I met you at a previous engagement and I found out what you were doing, I was just so in awe with what you have to offer for the community and for everyone. So, can you just tell us a little bit about you, because you gave us all the information about Samaritan's Feet, but you didn't tell us anything about you. So, tell us a little bit about you.
Sure. I'm from Indiana originally. Grew up in a Christian household. We went Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night church. We did it all. And man, if we weren't in church, it's like, what are we doing? But wonderful parents. They've since passed, and they just instilled that love for the Lord. And they not only talked about it, they lived it. And
Amen.
it's just my journey through life is owning that faith and coming into my own faith and being authentic with that. And that's my journey, and kind of, paths that took me from working in a school because I was raising my children and kind of did whatever I needed to do at that time. And I got to coach for 20 years. Moved to Chicago area.
What did you coach?
I coached volleyball, played in high school and college, and then coached for 20 years. Got to coach 2 of my daughters, so it was a lot of fun.
Wow.
And just those things along the way, those little nuggets and things that when we talk about networking, God just placed me in certain places. And then along the way, and moved to Chicago and love it here. Went back to the school system, and then
what did you do in the school system?
Discipline with high schoolers, which was a blast.
I told her she's my friend for
I
that.
love it. I love it. The bigger the problems, the more I just love those kids. There's just so much there to grab hold of.
And they do need that unconditional love.
Yep.
I mean, because sometimes they can do some things to really, make you stop and think if you have any love left. But,
yeah. Oh, but it's there. There's a
yes,
special person inside that. And
yes.
So and then I went to work for Mizuno, which is athletics, so volleyball apparel and equipment, taking me back kind of to those roots of volleyball, and had a really great job. And I felt this call, and I can relate to what the doctor was saying, because I felt that call on my heart. I was making great money. I was in the zone. I knew exactly what to do, how to cold call, and was having a lot of success, but God was knocking.
So it's not all about money.
God was knocking, and I was just like, I don't know why, but I feel called to a nonprofit. And the knock got louder and louder, and my husband said, babe, go do what God's calling you to do. And he gave me the opportunity to do that, and probably met with someone a lot like the doctor and just talked about this and kind of delving into what I wanted to do, what I felt passionate about. And sure enough, I got a call when I actually let one of my customers know that I was leaving. And I had formed all these amazing relationships with these directors of volleyball clubs and coaches. And this man was from Nigeria originally. And I said, Coach, I'm moving on to a nonprofit. I don't know what, I don't know where, but I know God's calling me to that. He said, yes. Kathy, you have to talk to Samaritan's Feet. And I said, Coach, what do you mean? And I had been collecting some of my samples of shoes and giving them to him, because lo and behold, being from Nigeria, he would go over every summer and take shoes, volleyball shoes, equipment, volleyballs, and he would train these athletes in Nigeria who wanted a better life, who wanted more. And so all this time I had been contributing these shoes. I got other reps to donate them, and we were donating hundreds of shoes.
You're kidding.
That went to Nigeria. And so then, come full circle, he said, you have to talk to Manny Ohame from Samaritan's Feet. This is where God will want you. And I'm like, okay, I guess I will.
Answer the prayer.
Yeah, so I had a call with Manny Ohame, our founder, and it took about 2 minutes into that conversation. I'm like, I'm sold, sign me up. So, it was just so amazing to see God just, bob and weave me through life to get me to this point. And nothing's random. Yes. Nothing's random. So, yeah, I went to work about 2.5 years ago for Samaritan's Feet. So,
okay, tell us a little bit about Samaritan's
Sure.
Feet. Mm-hmm.
So we are a nonprofit, 501c3 humanitarian organization, and we serve and inspire hope. Got my hope shirt on, in people through the gift of shoes. And for us, HOPE is an acronym. It stands for health, opportunity, peace, and education. And we can disagree about a lot of things. We might have different thoughts biblically and politically, but hope is something I feel like we can all rally around.
Yes.
And by golly, we need it today.
Yes, we do.
So what we do is, which is how we connected with you, is we go into schools, typically Title I schools if we're working with kids, and where maybe the threshold is 80% or more of those kids are on free and reduced lunch. And we provide shoes. And I always like to say, we could go outside. We're not going to probably see people without shoes like we do in Nigeria and Africa. But what you don't see is when you sit down with these children, you see shoes that don't fit them anymore.
Yes.
We see shoes that are worn out. When we talk to...
I see that a lot in school, yes.
When we serve parents have sacrificed for their kids. I know I didn't have a lot of money when I raised my 3 girls. Yeah. So who got what they needed? My girls got what they needed, and then I did without. So when we serve these parents, you just see some of them weeping. And they're like, I can't believe you're giving me shoes. And absolutely, if there's a need, we're going to meet it. And then seniors is such an overlooked community right now, and they're really struggling. Yeah, so we have a senior shoe. It's an anti-slip stability shoe that we fit them with so that we encourage, good balance, good fitting, and again, that stability for a population that's growing and is oftentimes overlooked. So so we go into schools or whoever we're serving, and we sit with them face to face, and we talk with them. We find something to connect on.
Okay.
And with little kids, it can be, what's your favorite color? What do you like doing in school? Are you having a good day? But you start that conversation, and you meet people where they are, which is really what I'm passionate about.
Awesome.
And then that conversation turns into, we take their socks and shoes off, and in a really great setting where we're allowed to, we wash their feet. We model what Christ did with his disciples in the upper room. And there's that humility in getting on your hands and knees and touching the feet of another person and honoring them and respecting them and showing dignity to them. And so we do that, and then we fit them with new socks and new shoes, and we share that message of hope, and we give them a really great orange hope tote that has a Be Well, Be Kind flyer, because like I said, I think we could all stand to be a little kinder to one another.
Definitely.
Yeah, and then there's actually a hope note in there that's been written by a volunteer. We have a lot of churches that will sit down and have a hope note writing party. And so all of that goes in that bag, and then we take them over to a dream banner. And I don't know about you, but kids need to dream. They need to think big. And so we really encourage them to write down what they want to be when they grow up. Write down anything that's special to them. And this is some of the kids that we served at Jesse White Learning Academy. We were there, and Barack Obama gave out close to 1,000 shoes between those 2 schools. And it was magical. It's every time I serve, I am moved to tears, because there's just something that touches your heart when you're serving others. It's not about me. It's not about anybody but those kids, and showing love and hope to them. So it's amazing. Yeah.
So I know you talked about doing things here in the United States, but there's all over the world, isn't it?
Yes, we are in our 21st year. Last October, we hit 10 million shoes. We've served 10 million people across the world. Yeah. We're in 109 countries, 600 plus cities here in the U.S., so it's pretty amazing.
What are some of the countries? Have you gone over yourself to visit other countries?
Full circle. I'm going to Nigeria in July, so I'm really excited. And God worked really in an incredible way the other day. I went to visit one of my old customers who's a volleyball club, and I said, hey, I'm going to Nigeria, and we are short on shoes, specifically volleyball shoes. I don't know if you have anything. She said, come on over. We'll take a look. So I've got a tiny car, and I cleared out the back of it, and I thought, well, hopefully I'll get a couple boxes, right? I walked in, and she goes, come up with me to the storage. So we walked upstairs. She opens this thing. She's like, all of these shoes we can't use anymore because we changed brands. I'm like, wait, what? God. And I just kept saying, wait, are you serious? Wow. Went over there, packaged them up, 418 pairs of brand new shoes. I know. And I stood
right
there.
before you leaving to Nigeria.
Absolutely. So we're shipping some over. I'm going to carry some in. But I mean, that came from a connection from my previous job. And so God, like I said, God just, just has these little things
That's
on
why you
your
can't
path.
burn any bridges.
100%.
Yeah.
Isn't that true? It's so true.
Awesome.
So, yeah, and I've been to Costa Rica with 2 different teams. I went to Costa Rica with Tulane University men's basketball and Stetson University women's basketball and served there. And we were in Nassau with University of Kentucky men's basketball. And so, yeah, Nigeria is going to be a really neat experience to see it all come full circle.
So now you ship some ahead of time, and then you're
Yes.
going to fly and take some with you?
Yes, and we're actually taking a father and a daughter, and this young lady has been collecting volleyball things for 2 years down in Tampa, Florida. And again, come full circle, she said, "Do you think I could go with you?" And I said, "That would be amazing." So we're going to make that happen, and it's cool because there's kids in Nigeria that are walking around with this young lady's sweatshirt from the club she plays for. So she's going to meet those kids that have been wearing some of her gear.
Oh.
So, I mean, again, nothing is random. God's hand is at work all the time.
And so
All
is
the
this a particular school that you're going to give it to, or who's
No.
going to receive this? Or
There's about 400 athletes all over Nigeria. They're going to come to Lagos, and we are there really close to the embassy. It's not the safest place to be right now. So we bring them into this compound. We'll train them for several days, and then we'll have a tournament because they've been training year round with coaches that the coach I talked about previously has been working with. So they bring all everything together it culminates in 3 days of tournaments. So
are you talking about volleyball?
Volleyball,
tournaments?
yeah. So we'll
you
hand
still
out.
get to do.
Yeah. Yes,
your
I get
love
to do
of
my
20
passion.
years.
Yeah.
Okay.
So all those supplies we'll set out, and the kids will come through. We'll give them shoes. We'll give them uniforms. We'll give them, you name it, and we'll supply those for them.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I
That's
know.
really
I know.
awesome.
Yeah, it's exciting. I'm
Yeah.
very excited to go.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what's next now? Is this?
Yeah.
I know this is Nigeria. Is this the first big or large trip you've taken with this many people involved?
Yeah, this is the biggest trip I've taken, but locally, we are starting, last year I did one city, Indy, and now we're doing one city, Chicago.
Okay.
And our goal with this is to serve about 3,000 people here in Chicago. Last year we served about 1,500, but what we want to do is what I did in Indianapolis. We want to bring religious leaders. We want to be community leaders. Police officers, firemen together, like when you and I met at that award ceremony.
Yes.
Come together, serve together, love together. And so that's what we're doing. I'm trying to raise funds, obviously, and network so that we can raise the funds to bring the shoes in and do more distributions. I serve the homeless down at the Thompson Center on Saturday. Every Saturday, I don't know if you know this, there's a homeless people who come down there to receive a meal from churches that supply that. So we did it twice last year and got down on my hands and knees and loved those folks and washed their feet and washed their hands and blessed them. And you talk about humbling, and you think about what we have and what we have to give.
Yes.
And they had nothing.
Yes.
Yet they were just so grateful, so very grateful. Everything they owned was on their back, and they cleared room for these socks and these shoes because they brought extra. So we want to do more of that. We want to serve more schools, more homeless, more shelters. The economy's tough right now, and people are struggling. We're struggling,
Yeah.
So
people don't always have the knowledge about the resources that you have.
Exactly.
And so even for those who are watching now, and how would they become a part of, first of all, we'll talk about the recipient and then the donating part. So how would they become a recipient of this?
Great question. So our website, SamaritansFeet.org. We're not Samaritan's Purse, although they do great work. We're SamaritansFeet.org. We're on there. And then I'm on there as well. There's a tab at the top that says One City, and you'll have my information as well. So I'm heading up One City, Indy, Chicago. We'd love to go up to Milwaukee. We're, so close, and we actually actually like to go to Minneapolis, but right now Chicago is my focus. So just contact me in my email and we'll connect, whether it's you want to serve, you know someone that needs to be served, or you want to offer up, networking for grants, or you know of organizations that have money to give towards basic needs. That's all greatly appreciated.
Okay, great. And so what is your goal for Chicago? I hear you saying, this is your focus now.
Yes.
You want to do this in Chicago. So
Yes.
what's your goal for Chicago?
Well, our goal is $50,000. That's my goal. So I'm doing a lot of grant applications, which is not my passion, but it's part of the job. And just again, I keep talking about networking. Anyone I meet and tell the story. And there's so many organizations, a lot of businesses out there that have a philanthropic, focus, and they have funds to give. And then we also provide the opportunity for them to serve and to volunteer. So I just worked with another church and they raised some money for us. And the great thing about it is we served at an elementary school, Angene's, and it's in Willowbrook, and it's an unincorporated part of Willowbrook. But the great thing is they came and they served, and I don't know, I know what it was. It was the Holy Spirit that was there that day, because by the end, we were all just in tears, and we didn't know what happened, but these kids were amazing. They were so thankful. But the beautiful thing, they said, we raised money, we gave it to what we thought we were going to do, but then we were able to volunteer, so we saw the fruits of the labor, and we labored, and we saw the thing from beginning to end.
Okay,
and I think that's what's really neat about Samaritan's Feet. So, you get to really see what you're supporting and be involved in it and serve physically with your hands and just love on people. And again, meet them where they are. No judgment.
Great. So now when they go on the website, they're going to see your name. Is it a place for them to donate there, or they have to actually talk directly to you?
Hit that one city. If you can find that one city connection, there is a donate button on there. It's a QR code or a link. And if all else fails, contact me. I'd love to have a conversation with you, and I can direct you to the right place. So we got to help our community.
And is there a deadline for this, or?
So Q1 and Q2 is when I'm doing my fundraising, and then Q3 and 4 is when we really want to hit like the back to school, because that's when it gets so expensive for parents, if we're talking with children, but adults and seniors and the homeless, any time of the year, if there's the need, we want to connect, we want to schedule it and get it done.
Oh, so you're doing it simultaneously?
We'll do multiple events. So it's not just a one-day thing, multiple events. So basically, as we get the funding, we host an event. So so contact me.
And just for an example, my mom's 93. She stays in a senior home. Okay, so if you came, would you come to that senior's home, or they would call you or tell you certain people that need things there?
Absolutely.
Or how would that work?
That's a great question. I did one of those in Indianapolis, Oxford Place Living. And it was all seniors. And so what we did is I physically went there and I handed out flyers. I talked to the director. She said, yes, I think there's a need. So we handed out flyers and had the folks sign up. So they gave us their shoe size. We ordered them. Then I came. We washed feet. We met with them. Nice. We did a number of things at that organization. And again, it's an overlooked population. So if there's a need, tell me about it. I'll get a hold of the director. That's the beautiful thing, is we're turnkey. We'll take care of all the logistics, get the shoes there. I'll be there leading, setting up. So volunteers, all you have to do is show up with a heart and serve.
This sounds so miraculous.
It is, and it's a pair of shoes, but it's not about the shoes. It's about hope.
And so if someone is, like you said, back to school is coming or whatever, they just contact you,
me.
And somehow God makes a way.
He does.
He's a way maker.
He is a way maker. It's great.
Well, we're going to ask you if you could say anything or give anybody a word of advice or anything. What would you tell them concerning how you gave of yourself, even to be so selfless, to wash people's feet? And, what would you say to them? How did you?
That's a great question, and I think that's part of that journey. I think that, as I said, I went to church, Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, and we had elders, deacons, everybody was over at our house. And I think you can do all the right things and check all the boxes, but I think you got to really look at your heart. Because it's how you make people feel and finding authentically who you are. And I think I went on a journey that kind of looked like that. Maybe you can't relate, but I finally figured out who I am. And through that, there was some judgment. You know, you can read the Bible and say, well, they're doing this and I'm not doing this, or I am doing this. But where I got to is meet people where they are, not where you want them to be, and love them for who they are, because their journey is special and it's important. And I don't think I realized that until probably 10 years ago. And God like took the scales off my eyes and said, stop looking at everyone else and judging, and love instead. And that's just, I mean, that was life-changing for me. And it's taken me, 57 years to get to that point. But man, once you get there and you just look at people for the heart and the purity of their soul and what God can do, I mean, I know it sounds probably hokey, but that's truly why I do what I do.
And it doesn't matter how long it takes to get there, but people have to start somewhere.
That's right.
They have to, volunteer, sign up, just put by faith.
That's right.
Go and see, and the Lord will do the rest. He'll touch them, because like you said, sometimes we feel as though I don't have enough money.
Right.
I don't have enough resources.
Right.
I don't know the right people.
Right.
Are they just scamming me?
Show up.
Or,
Just
but
show
once
up.
you become a part of an organization like this that has a track record,
That's right.
that has done it over and over again, and they see the success, like you said, from beginning to end.
Right.
That makes such a big difference, because sometimes people say they donate, they don't know where the money went,
Right.
they don't know who got it or whatever.
Exactly.
But when you come and you can see who's receiving
That's right.
the donations, and then you actually have a part in washing their feet or actually giving them the actual shoes, it does embed something deep in you.